Hey, party people. I am currently hiding in my son's room so that we can talk about how you can evaluate your energy level so you can move your career and your life essentially forward. So if this is the first time you're seeing me, my name is Huang. I'm an occupational therapist, certified hand therapist, and I ran a poll the other day about who's draining your energy at work. So I help occupational therapists become hand therapists, become certified hand therapists, and I'm just here to, talk to you a little bit about what's draining your energy. Because I understand, like, in the hand therapy space, it can be really competitive, and I think it's a little bit more than just hand therapy. I think, like, occupational therapists in general can have some of these issues, but since I help hand therapists specifically, or people who want to get into hand therapy, just want to go over a couple of things. So if you're on here, let me know, say hello. I was going to do this in my office, but that's okay. Sort of ran out of time, but I wanted to come on because I thought it was really interesting. I had about, 42% of you guys voted that work was draining your energy. And 9% of you said that friends and family were draining your energy. And then 49% of you guys said that it's you, like you feel burnt out. So I wanted to come on and just really kind of address some of these areas so that I can give you essentially some questions and some strategies on what you potentially could do to really just get yourself out of that rut. Because I think part of it is, like, if you can't control your energy, or you're kind of feeling lost and burnt out, it's really hard to move forward as a therapist, right? It's really hard to move forward and to think about becoming a certified hand therapist and really just loving what you do. And we just spend way too much time doing what we do as therapists to, like, feel really shitty and to not enjoy what we do. So I'm a really huge fan of enjoying what you do, becoming really good at what you do, so you just feel more like motivated and passionate, so they can go hand in hand. It's not that you're passionate about something and then you can become really good about it, with it. Sometimes you just have to do the work, have to put the work in to get better, and then from there see how it really energizes you and gives you passion to do even more. Like, we all started at some point at the beginning, coming out of school, knowing absolutely nothing as an occupational therapist, trying to get into very specific jobs or into very specific areas. And then we had to build and build and build our skills, right? And so in order to build our skills in a way that's just valuable to us and valuable to our family, it's just evaluate your energy and where it's going and how do you kind of keep some of that. So since 42% of you guys said it was work that was draining your energy, I essentially wrote down 3 questions that you can keep in mind, right? So I'm going to go through them one at a time. So if your work is draining your energy, ask yourself, do you like what you do? Right? Do you like what you do? Like the actual, maybe not the actual being an OT, but maybe your setting, your setting, like what you actually do on a day-to-day basis. I will tell you that when I first came out of OT school, because I didn't love it. I was like, oh shit, I just spent 6 years getting a master's degree. I'm like, I'm not sure I really love this profession. Shit. Just, if you're there, I've been there, done that, right? So just think about, do I really like what I do? And then the second question I would implore you to ask yourself is, do you like where you work? So for me, I did like where I worked. I liked the company I worked at. I liked the hospital. I liked the people. I wasn't sure about if I liked what I did. And this is why the third question is really important. Do you feel like you are good at what you do? And if you answer that realistic, like honestly with yourself, do you feel like you're good at what you do? When you're first starting doing something, you don't feel that great. You don't feel really good doing what you're doing. Then circle back to that first question, which is, do you like what you do? And keep in mind, if you're not really good at what you're doing, maybe that's the thing that causes you to not like what you're doing. So is it possible, if you started to develop your skills and got better at what you're doing as a therapist, as an occupational therapist, as a hand therapist, would you like more what you did on the day-to-day basis? We're helpers, we want to help people. We want to make an impact in someone's life. And we make an impact in someone's life when we get good at what we do. And then because we get good at what we do, funny enough, we start to like what we do. So 4 years in acute care, first year in skilled nursing, I was fine with that. And then I went into acute care, kind of fumbled around, did better, started to develop skills. And I did like certain things about care. Actually, towards the end of it, I got really good in acute care, and I did enjoy it. I like the fast-pacedness. I like the hustle and bustle of a busy hospital, of a busy nurses station, of the kind of like the crisis sometimes that happened. The more kind of a severe case or an injury, sometimes you get the most reward. But you get a very fast, I talk about feedback loops, right? You get very quick feedback loops from acute care patients because you do something and you get immediate feedback that there is a result or that there's improvement. For the most part, there's a lot of some kind of positive feedback that can come. And sometimes you get really addicted to that positive, like fast, short feedback loops. So I would ask these 3 questions. Do you like what you do? Do you like where you work? And do you feel like you're good at what you do? And then it's from those questions that could really help you in terms of how to protect your energy at work. Because if you're not that good at what you're doing, you might want to take some classes. You might want to join a mentorship program, take an online class, take a in-person class. Gotta be picky and choosy about some of the classes, especially online. Make it valuable to you. I don't always go with cheap because sometimes those classes aren't as valuable, so just kind of keep things in mind, like in terms of taking things that help you grow very specific skills, right? And then think about where, if you don't like where you work, sometimes that can be draining. I had one job. I only had one job. I'm very lucky. I recognize that. I only had one job that I just didn't love where I worked. I love the setting. I really like the people. I really like the patients, the kind of patients I got. But I didn't love the company that I was working with, and that drained me. So I hated going to work. When I got to work, I enjoyed it because the patients made me feel good. I helped them. I was good at what I did. But I didn't love going into work, and that was a big deal for me. So then you might have to make some changes about, what you need to do, right? All right, so friends and family, only 9%, brave 9% souls that came on and told me that those people were draining your energy. And let's be honest, thank you so much for voting that way, because it's hard to say it, because those are the people that we love and we care about, but sometimes those are the people who hurt us the most, right? I totally get it. I'm on your side there. Sometimes friends and families can really be draining. So I'm going to give you an example. Sometimes when you're preparing for the exam, like if you're an occupational therapist and you have the years and the hours and you're ready to sit for the exam, sometimes telling them what you want to do, it can actually like their comments, their questions, or their doubts, or things that they say, they don't even think anything of it. But sometimes those are the comments that kind of hurt the most, So I would ask you, another example would be maybe you're telling them about some stuff like having to do with work. And I would say, what are you telling them? Because if you, for example, want to become a certified hand therapist, but in one sentence, say you want to become a certified hand therapist, and then make excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse to say, like, this is the reason why I can't do it. And then when someone says back to you, oh, for whatever reason that they doubt that you can do it, or maybe why bother, kind of like statements that might be a little bit hurtful, I would then kind of be like, what are you saying to people that can bring those kind of comments forward? It's not to say that it's your fault. It's not, just this, sometimes you're not doing anything wrong and they just make comments. I got some of those people. But just something to keep in mind. Sometimes I don't share as much in detail. Sometimes I might not, like if I say I want to do something, I might not share my doubts about something about it, because I don't want someone to make comments to hold me back. Especially when you're doing something big and brave. Deciding to study for the CHT exam is, being bold and brave, just because it does take a lot of your time. It takes a lot of your commitment to study, to say no to things so you can say yes to the exam, so you can say yes to, getting the letters and advancing your career. I mean, to be honest, you take the exam, you pass once, you have it for the rest of your career. So if you're interested in advancing yourself in that way, you want to sound confident. You want to make that commitment so that there's, no doubt from other people. So that they're not making side comments, that might sound like they're discouraging, right? So happened to me when I was thinking about taking the exam. I would tell people, because you sort of get kind of excited, but you're doubtful if it's possible. And then people would always make comments like, oh, it's really hard. Oh, it's this and that. Oh, you have to study a lot, and, or, this happened with a supervisor or, a therapist, like he didn't pass. And so he had like little off comments to me, like, that were not very encouraging. And I looked up to him, and I don't think he meant it in a bad way, but he was projecting his own experience and feelings about it. So I would just say, kind of be careful, especially when you're trying to do something big and brave and bold, like, make a decision to sit, and make a decision to study, to sit for the exam, right? So if you're someone who's making that decision now and you want to, if you want to know what's available and you want to know how a program like the hand exam prep program can help you prepare for it, definitely send me a message, and we can talk about it and say, like, are you ready for it? And I'll ask you a few questions about it, because really you do want to make a commitment in terms of time and in terms of a commitment, because once you start studying, you just want to study and like do it, don't drag it out, just get it done, right? All right, so 9 brave souls said that it was friends and family. All right, so it's me, I'm burnt out, and that's why I have no energy. And that's 49% of you guys. 49% of you guys said that you're burnt out. So if you're burnt out, I have 3 burning questions that I have for you. And that is, are you overwhelmed with what you're doing and where your skills need to be, right? So Are you overwhelmed with where you currently are working, but where you think your skills need to be? Because there's a mismatch in where you are and where you want to be. And that gap is the overwhelmed gap. And sometimes when that gap is really huge, it can drain your energy. It can really drain your energy. So for example, when you're first starting out in hand therapy and you don't know shit from shit, let's just be honest with each other. You are just faking it until you make it. It can be really overwhelming because that learning gap is just so huge. And that can cause some burnout unless you get help. Unless you get help and mentorship and someone who can help you think through stuff, help you go over cases so that you don't feel overwhelmed and alone. And that is one of the biggest ways that you can kind of like close that gap faster and faster, by doing it with someone versus trying to do it alone. All right? Because you want to conserve your energy so that you can continue to learn. But when that gap is really huge, the burnout is very possible. All right. So another reason, another question I would say ask yourself about is, are you bored? Are you so good? Are you so good at what you do that you're just bored because you can do what you're doing with your eyes closed? Now, I was worked in a skilled nursing facility, kind of low level types of things, and I was bored. And so sometimes when you're bored or you feel like you're so good, I don't think I was so good that I could do my thing with my eyes closed. I was just bored with what I was doing and where I felt like I really wasn't improving my skills. And so if you're in a place of boredom, that can cause burnout. And I actually was talking to a new grad therapist who had been out of school for a year. And she told me she was like, kind of her situation, her work situation. And she was just like, I'm just so burnt out, right? And one of the things I challenged her on was this question: are you bored? Because if you're not learning, you might be bored. We've been in school, right? We've been from elementary, middle school, high school, and at some point we went to college and we went to graduate school. And the whole time you're just from semester to semester, you're constantly learning, you're constantly doing something new. And then all of a sudden you get a job. We're adulting now and we're doing the same shit over and over so that we can get better, so that we can get good at what we're doing. But because we're not getting that dopamine hit of something new all the time, and we're not challenged to learn something new, we could be bored, and boredom can lead to burnout, right? So number one is when your skills gap is too wide, too great, that could lead to burnout. The other thing that can lead to burnout is on the other end of the spectrum, which is boredom. I'd say pretty much everything is on a bell curve. You're in one end or you're in the other, and you're going down into that like downward slope, right? So I would ask yourself these questions. These are like you reevaluating, your energy level and where you want to be, right? All right, the last one, which is really huge when it comes to you're burnt out. So you have to be very honest with yourself with this one. Do you have any direction in your life or in your career? You have to be really honest with yourself, because when you're, again, we've been in school, we're in school for a really long time. And we are always told from one class to the next class, we're being directed 100%. You go to graduate school, you're being told exactly what to do. You're being told exactly where to go and for how long, right? So all of a sudden you come out of school And nobody is telling you what to do. You get to tell yourself what to do. And so a lot of times what happens is, we've been held accountable. We've been told to focus this whole time. All of a sudden, nobody is telling you what to do. You have to know what direction or what path you want to take your career. And if you don't have one, could you just be going in this little circle, not sure what to do, and feeling burnt out because you have absolutely no direction? You're essentially driving in circle, you're lost, and now you're running out of gas, right? Have an honest conversation with yourself. Do I have direction? So for somebody who, let's say, I've worked with people, and it doesn't always have to do with how busy you are at work, right? It really doesn't. Because I've worked with somebody that was super busy, and then she was super slow, and she was still burnt out, right? I've seen that, heard that, worked with it. It didn't matter if it was slow, if it was busy, they were just burnt out. And if I looked at those 3 questions, one of the reasons why that person was burnt out is because they didn't know what the hell they wanted to do, right? Just pick something and do it, but they just didn't know. They're so indecisive about what to do, because you can have that same person in that same role, in the same busyness, and energy level through the roof. Oh my God, I can't believe that I worked all day, saw so many patients, it was go, go, go. And I can't believe I still have so much energy right now. I was like, holy shit. You do? That's amazing. Why? Because then bring it back to, if you like what you do and you start to feel that you're really good at what you're doing and you like where you work, already boosts your levels of energy. And the overwhelm gap, there's a gap. There's always a gap. Always know that there should be a little gap between where you currently are and where you want to be. There should be a little gap, because that's what drives you to want to do more, right? That's what gives you that, you always want to have a certain amount of ambition toward that, being better, honing your craft, however you want to do it. But when you're not totally overwhelmed, but you're not bored, and you have direction in your life, your gas tank will be so full, right? You're like a hybrid car. I got so much energy. And so much energy. I can do anything. I really want to be a hand therapist. I really want to be a certified hand therapist. And this is where I see my career going. And I know some of you guys might not have all the answers. But if you have an inkling, that you want to do something, just go for it. And I say that because there's a lot of people who tell me that they want to sit and become a certified hand therapist. And the problem is they want to do it, but they're so scared. They want to do it but they're overwhelmed with the amount of reading they have to do. They're overwhelmed with the amount of studying, of the amount of topic. How are they going to do it alone? And I'm just here to tell you, you don't have to do it alone. It does not have to be overwhelming. And there are programs just like the hand exam prep program that are out there to save you time, to fill your energy cup, to take the overwhelm out. So if you're interested in studying for the hand exam prep, for the hand therapy exam this November, send me a message. We are 6 months away from November. And now is a great time to start studying. Now is a great time, to get serious about your studying, right? And if you are thinking, I want to do it in May of 2023, I do have a lot of people in the program that start a year out. right? We're a year out from the May exam. And if you have any questions around that and how I can help you potentially prepare to sit for the exam, let's have a conversation. You can send me a message, and let's get some direction in your life so that you can fill up your energy tank. Let's bridge that gap of overwhelm from where you are to where you want to be. Let's bridge that gap so that it's possible for you to do everything that you said you want to do without draining. You're like depleting yourself completely. A lot of people talk about self-care, and they talk about going to get massages, going to get their nails done, going on vacation. All of those things are wonderful, and they should be done because you enjoy them. Not necessarily because they're gonna constantly fill your cup, those are just small little things that give you little drops of energy. But it's like a massage. Just going and enjoying a massage. But when you have true injury and true pain, I always say, like, you want to get to the root cause of that pain so that you can enjoy your massage better, right? So if you're feeling burnt out and you're feeling like your energy is drained, let's get to the root cause of why that is draining your energy, so that when you do go do these fun things, like go get a massage, go get your nails done, hang out with your girlfriends, that kind of stuff, like, you enjoy that so much more because your tank is full, your tank is full. So they're just like, they like top off your gas. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, so those are the three major areas where people were telling me that they were feeling that their energy was being drained. And go back and listen to those questions. There's 3 questions with each one. For the work, it's do you like what you do? Do you like where you work? And do you feel like you are good at what you do? Those are the 3 questions for the work component. And then the 3 questions for you're burnt out. Ask yourself and answer honestly. Are you overwhelmed with what you do and where your skills need to be because they don't match right now? The gap is too wide. Are you bored with what you're doing? That's a really good question to ask yourself too. And 3 is, do you have any direction in your life and in your career? Answer those things honestly. And I would love to hear your feedback. You can leave a comment in the comment section, or you can send me a message in my DM. Alrighty? Alright, perfect. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. I've had this conversation with my own team, so I'm happy to be able to bring it to you just as if you were on my team as well. All right, so enjoy your night, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks. Bye.